All right, some big stories on the front page of tomorrow's Australian newspaper, not least of which, Liz, the Australian government's made a big announcement on the future of AI in this country.
They have indeed. They're not doing another TikTok. They saw how that got out of hand pretty fast. This time, they're onto it quick. Security ban for DeepSeek artificial intelligence. Chinese artificial intelligence app DeepSeek has been banned from Australian government systems and devices following an assessment by intelligence agencies that the software poses an unacceptable risk to national security. The move, set in motion by a Home Affairs Protective Security Order, is similar to the government's ban on TikTok on official devices. To quote Minister Tony Burke, the Albanese Government is taking swift and decisive action to protect Australia's national security and national interest. AI is a technology full of potential and opportunity, but the government will not hesitate to act when our agencies identify a national security risk. Our approach is country agnostic and focused on the risk to the Australian government and our assets. Okay, so that last sentence I think we can safely conclude was a bit of BS. I don't think it's country agnostic at all. If this was an American app, we probably wouldn't be worried about it. But hey, I think they've seen what happened with TikTok. They woke up way too late. There's now 8.5 million monthly users in Australia alone of that Chinese app, which we know is a massive data harvesting apparatus for the CCP. And here they are going, hang on a minute, we're not going to have the Chinese AI, which, by the way, there's plenty of other AIs to choose from, like Elon's Grok and others. So it's not that Aussies will now be bereft of this function. It's simply a big no to this one. And they haven't banned it for all Aussies. They're simply saying we're not using it, and we very strongly advise that you familiarise yourself with how your data can be used should you choose to use it.
Yeah, it's nice to see this government showing leadership and getting onto something immediately rather than allowing events to overtake them before belatedly they try and mop up the mess. So credit where credit's due. Yep. Good decision from Tony Burke on this one. And as for him calling it a country agnostic decision, you're right, Liz, it's BS. However, they have to play the game. We all know they're playing the game.
But and to be fair, that we probably should have a discussion about whether or not it should be available to use for anyone, because of course in China, they're not using Grok and they're not using ChatGPT because they'd be worried that such things might give them information about the Western world, or perhaps more pertinently give them information about the Chinese world, i.e. what happened in Tiananmen Square, etc. We know what DeepSeek says about all of these things. You go on there and ask about Tiananmen Square and it says, oh, I don't know what you're talking about. Let's talk about something else, right? So we allow China and its businesses, which are always in some way linked to the CCP, to have influence and power in our countries, but of course they don't allow our businesses, Western businesses, to have that level of power and influence in their country. So it's an unfair balance, I think, in some ways that needs to be addressed.
It's a really good point for a government that keeps banging on about misinformation and disinformation to allow a Chinese Communist Party app to have free reign through the populace. If they're really that concerned, do something about that. Not
as a moral quandary, it would barely trouble a child. So we're glad that the Albanese government hasn't found this too difficult.